in the distance, I hear him. He beckons. He hosts Locked On Cougars and talks all things BYU. It's time to talk some BYU for our can't miss matchup. He is Jake Hatch, the local expert on all things BYU from Locked On Cougars. Jake, even this week, we're seeing even more wrinkles of why this rivalry, Utah-BYU, is one of the most underrated in all of college football.
No doubt. That's the fun part about this. We're going to see a lot of fun action, I think, this weekend as the Cougars and Utes battle for the first time as ranked opponents, both inside the top 25.
BYU is looking for its third win in a row. This is a matchup that in the 2010s was dominated by Utah. The Cougars have the opportunity to, I think you said it on your show this week, build a ripple effect that hurts the Utes for years to come if a freshman quarterback in Bear Bachmeier gets it done against the seasoned Devon Dampier.
Absolutely, because if they do that, that shows that BYU's got some continuity building. And you mentioned a freshman quarterback in Bear Bachmeier. Why wouldn't you have confidence you can make that 3 or 4 or 5 games if you win this game against the Utes?
Taking a look at BYU this season, they've been elite at running the football, and Utah's one bugaboo is their rush defense. Is that the ultimate key of how BYU Kalani Sitake can win the rivalry game at home?
Yeah, to take the pressure off a young quarterback in a rivalry of this magnitude, you absolutely need to run the ball. And if BYU can do it, they will absolutely run it down the Utes' throats all night long and make sure that they shorten this game if at all possible.
And I know a second ago we mentioned Bear Bachmeier being young, Devon Dampier being experienced. Let's take away their classification and just go quarterback versus quarterback. Where is the edge?
I think the edge is in Bear Bachmeier's arm. He's shown the ability to be able to throw the ball down the field much more effectively this season than Devon Dampier has. That doesn't mean that Devon Dampier hasn't thrown it down the field. It's just not been as accurate as I believe that Bear Bachmeier has been with his downfield accuracy.
BYU can make it, in essence, a 2-team race in the Big 12 alongside Texas Tech for a title in Arlington later this year. Give me a quick synopsis and a final score prediction for this game.
I think it's going to be a tight one, less than a touchdown possession. I've got a BYU 24, Utah 23.
Wow, a 1-point score. Jake Hatch, all things BYU with Locked On Cougars every single day here with our can't miss matchup. Thanks, Jake.
Thank you.
Coach Gary Patterson, you have coached against both of these teams in some pretty dang good environments, whether it be Provo, Salt Lake City. I think this is going to be one of the best. Again, one of the most underrated rivalries in all of college football. It's going to be rocking on Saturday night.
Yeah, because they've played each other so many times, I use this word, and I don't try to use it very often, but the word hate.
Nice.
I think you kind of get
hate
to where they
in the Holy War.
Yeah, hate in the Holy War, but they get after each other, and it's not just the 11 on the field. It's the fans, it's everybody. It's a year-round thing. Anybody that's in the same state, and they're very close. Their school's, what is it, an hour from
40 minutes, 40 miles.
40 minutes. They have to live it all year.
Jesse, this is a rivalry where, like last year, I think a cheerleading coach got hit in the head with a water bottle and passed out. Like there's every year there's something different where you just go, how in the world between two mostly tame fan bases do we get to this point? This is what I think that the Big 12 needs, and you and I talk a lot of Big 12 ACC, yourself an ACC guy. The Big 12 needs games like this, top 25 matchups like this, to further put itself on the national map.
No, absolutely. And we talk about all the time on this show about, what is sexy to TV? What do people want to watch? And so having these type of matchups can definitely now put these teams and this conference in such a light now that people are now gravitating to it more. They're wanting to watch it more. They're wanting to see these type of teams play each and every week on college football because, when you have the SEC, you have the ACC, a lot of people gravitate towards that. But top 25 moments like this, and if it's a good game, these are one of those instant classic games that you'll play forever, and that'll bolster up the conference.
Again, I mentioned EPA earlier with our game of the week. I'll do it again here. So you just saw BYU's not great on third down, but what they really are efficient at is running the football. 17th in the country efficiency-wise running the ball. Utah 86th defending the run. Coach Gary Patterson, BYU's got a freshman quarterback. But that freshman has won Freshman of the Week in the Big 12 more than 50% of the weeks this year. He is the cat right now for the Cougars. I think if he runs the ball well, this game at home is in BYU's court.
Well, if they haven't watched him, he's 6'4", 225 pounds. I watched the game last week, and it turned into quarterback run game to get him to win in the fourth quarter and get in 2-point plays, do all of the things that they needed to do. They trust him. And he doesn't act like he's a freshman. I will just tell you that. If you watch his face, which, being a coach, the eyes, sometimes they glaze over. they glaze over and do things. His eyes do not glaze over in any of the games I've watched him play yet.
I mean, you talk about such a big rivalry game as a freshman. It's comforting to be at home.
Yeah.
Right? When you're at home, your crowd's behind you. Even if you don't show that you're nervous, there is a little bit of nervousness because you're hearing about how big this rivalry is and how important this game is.
Sue, ask you, I know Lee Sterling's knocking down the door back there trying to get in here. But you told us a story off the air a couple weeks ago about your first action as a freshman playing Florida State.
Yes.
How does that, I mean, you gave your own perspective of what Bear Bachmeier is going through right now, and he's doing it in stride.
Yeah, no, absolutely. When you go out there and you start seeing these, this guy's he's a young kid, but going out there as a freshman playing in such a big game, right? And now you're talking about the implications of this being potentially how you get into the college football playoffs.
Yeah.
You wanting to win this game. I'm a freshman. This is on my shoulders. A lot of what's going to happen in this game for BYU will happen on the shoulders and legs of Bachmeier. So, sometimes having that at home, it can be a wow experience, but having that game at home calms you a little bit. The coach can come in, corral you a little bit. You're not on the road where this thing is getting really crazy and thrown at you.
You were playing Florida State and Bobby Bowden. He was playing Portland State his first game this year. He got to ease in a little bit. I'll be on site on Saturday. BYU Utah should be a fantastic match. I'm very excited for it. And look, Lee Sterling, he's got a leaning in this game. Lee, what is our lock of the day? Kevin, take it away.
Thanks, Drake. Another wild weekend in college football in the books. We look ahead to this week's Lock of the Week.
Open it, open it, open it. Lee has the key to the Lock of the Day.
Game in the Big 12 between a couple rivals as BYU plays host to Utah. The Utes at 5-1, BYU undefeated, but the Cougars are a home dog here. Lee, what do you like?
Well, not only have both of these teams come out of the gate strong, Utah 5-1 straight up and 5-1 against the spread. BYU 6-0 and also 4-2 against the spread. Both of these teams are fighting to win the Big 12 and also maybe get into the college football playoff. Now, there's no denying Utah has the best weapon in this game, and that's quarterback Devon Dampier. He's thrown for 11 touchdowns. He's run for also 5 touchdowns. Got some decent complementary weapons, but BYU's freshman quarterback, Bear Bachmeier, certainly has raised some eyebrows, thrown for 8 touchdowns and run for 7 touchdowns and almost 300 yards rushing. I think BYU's complementary players in running back L.J. Martin, who's run for over 650 yards, and also the top 2 receivers, Chase Roberts and Parker Kingston, are probably a little bit better here than Utah has. So I think that BYU on defense is going to use a spy to limit Devon Dampier's running here, and just think that the home field, very important in a rivalry game. I'm going to go with my lock of the day here. I'm going to say BYU gets the job done 24-21 over Utah.
And for more daily picks, subscribe to Locked On Bets. Back to the college football kickoff studio. We'll see you next week, Drake.